So basically, we were dealing with ER diagram and corresponding mapping to relations in relational model. ER diagram shows the different entity types, their association or relation. So we'll have to go for implementation. So for that, we'll have to map these entity types and relationship types to some relations of relational model. So in this context, we have looked into entity type, strong, possibly for the weak entity type also we have done. Weak entity two. So weak entity type, that also has been done. And regarding the attributes, if it is composite, then how to handle, and partially we have talked about if it is multivalent, how to handle. Basically, that will again come at the time of normalization. And then for the relationship of EIP, it will depend on the constraints of the relationship, that is the participation constraint and mapping cardinality. So in this context, we have done, if it is 1:1, we were talking about the binary relation. If the mapping cardinality is 1:1, that part we have done. Depending on the situation, we can go for foreign key based approach, merged relation, cross reference, or relationship relation. So that part we have seen. So if it is one to many, or from the other side, it is many to one. Say we have student so there is a relation say studies in say department. A student studies in one department. In a department, we can have multiple students. So from this to this is many to one. So if we look at from this side, 1 to 2. So it's similar kind of thing. Let us say if we have some attributes here, say get admission. Right. So how shall we map? We know that so far we have a student relation like this. Entity types have been mapped to students. Say department has department code as primary key. So these relations, these have been mapped. Now what about this studies in? Now see, if we think about foreign key based approach, in foreign key based approach, what do we do? We keep the primary key of one side to another side. Now see, in which side shall we keep? If we think about that, okay, in the department, we will keep the information, roll number of the students. But in a department, there may be many roll numbers. So this is problematic. Say in a record, how many roll numbers shall I keep? So this will not follow. Rather, optimal will be, if we keep the department code here, which will be the foreign key referring to this. So that means, in many sides, where we are keeping the foreign key student, that is in the many side. So in many site, copy the primary key of related entity type and it will be a foreign key in many sites. See here we cannot follow the merging because if we merge, there are lots of limitations. In the department, so many students are studying. So for all the students, same department informations are to be repeated. If we consider that we will make a merged relation, then what will be the attribute? All the attributes. If we make an entry for every student, then in a department 100 students are studying. All the department informations are to be repeated. Now, if we copy these things, then also copy the attribute of relation in many slides. So that means here, if we consider the date admission, we have shown this is the attribute of the relation. So if in which side we are taking action? In the many side. So in the many side, we have copied the primary key of the related entity type and it becomes the foreign key and also copy the attribute of the relation. So date admission. Right. So always whenever we are going for the foreign key based approach, the side where we are taking the action, that means copying the primary key of the others, then in that side only you put the attribute of the relations, if any. Right? Now, merged relation we cannot consider, but we can go for the cross reference or relationship relation. That always we can do. That means a separate relation for relationship type of ER diagram. What will be the attribute? Attribute will be union of the primary key of related entity types union attribute of relationship if any. So that means if we follow this approach, then say studies in a separate relation for this one, primary key of the related entity type and its own attributes. Right? Now what will be the primary key of this relation? What will be the primary key? Department code, same department code, number of students may be there. So department code will be repeated. So department code cannot be the primary. But for every student there is one entry. If the student has the primary key, that primary key can act as the primary key of this. So primary key will be primary key of entity type in many sites. So here student was on the many side. So primary key of the student, that will become the primary key of this thing. If you are getting puzzled that same roll number in multiple departments, then forget about this is not the roll number, this is registration number. But as per our roll numbering scheme, roll number across the department is also unique. Because your roll number embeds the department code also, or subject, I mean, BCSE, BME, BCD, like that. So that code is incorporated. So you can roll number also, no issue in our context. Right? Now see, if we try to compare these two approaches, suppose for a student, department is not known. লজ্জা লাগলে এটা কম আছে, এটাও নিতে পারে। কেউ আমার ছেলে এসেছে দেখে গেছে। So for a student, the department is not known. Now see, here what we have considered that in the student side, in the many side, we keep the primary key of the other side. That we consider, right? So then, if it is not known, then we'll have to allow the null value. If we go for a foreign key based approach, for the student, I don't know in which department he has been allocated. So in that case, in the student relation, the department code will be null. If we follow this approach, if our department is not known, then I cannot relate the student to the department. So there will be no entry here. So if it is so that participation of the student is partial, say student is relation department, say this is partial. If it is so, then in that case, in foreign key based approach, there will be null value. But here what we can do? If it is not known, I will not make any entry. No entry if the code is not known. Now somebody may say that it's good, not necessary. Suppose I want to know the students and the corresponding departments. From here only I can find. But for a student, if I look into these, for a student, if the department is not known, I may not put it here. I can put it as null value. Otherwise, I can avoid the null value. But if I avoid the null value, I won't get the trace of the student from here. So for me, the student database is not available. To me, this is available. To me, the existence of the students may not be known. So it depends. Everybody has their own pros and cons, right? But if it is so that very often this is not known, so I'll have to allow the null value. I don't want that, so one can follow this one. But see, in case of one to many or many to one, it is not mandatory that we'll have to go for cross reference or relationship relation. So optimally, one can go for foreign key based approach without creating another additional relation, right? But see, if we go for many to many, if we go for a many to many kind of situation, say faculty can teach subject. Say this is many to many. We will have a relation for these faculty, these entity type will have a subject relation. Now, if we think about the foreign key-based approach, if we copy the primary key of the other one here, say subject code, how many subjects? That's a problem. Again, if we consider that, okay, in this side we will be copying the faculty and how many faculty? This is many to many. So foreign key-based approach is difficult. If we think about merged relation, so foreign key we are not following. If we think about the merged relation kind of thing, we'll be considering, we may have some attributes, say A here also. If we consider, okay, I'll consider a single schema with all the attributes of this one, and this one. Then again, if I consider that on a particular subject there may be, a faculty may be teaching multiple subjects. Then for every subject the same faculty information is to be repeated. Again, a particular subject may be taught by number of faculties. For each and every faculty, the same subject information are to be repeated. So lots of redundancy, wastage of space, this kind of situation will occur. So this one is also not possible. So we are left with only cross-reference relation or relationship relation. That means here can teach will be a separate schema, separate relation. So we will consider a separate relation for relationship of ER diagram. What will be the attributes? It will be same union of the primary key of related entity types. Union its own attribute, if any. And what will be the primary key of relation? Primary key of this particular relation. So we have faculty ID, subject code, and say A, its own attributes. Now, if the faculty can teach 5 subjects, then same faculty ID will be appearing 5 times. On a particular subject code, if there are 7 faculties, 7 times it will appear. So individually faculty ID is code, they cannot be the primary. They cannot be the primary. So the primary key is composite. And individually, this is a foreign key referring to this, and this is a foreign key referring to this. In both the cases, in the earlier schema also, be it foreign key based approach or whatever it is, or merged relation, or cross reference, we will coming across this foreign key. So, copied primary key will also be foreign key. They will be referring to the corresponding primary key of the relation. Right? So, copied primary keys will also be the foreign keys, individual. And again, primary key of this new relation will be union of the primary key of related entity types. Right? So now we know if it is a 1:1, 1:many, or many:1, or many:many, how we can map this to the relation. See, in the first case, that is, if it is a many-to-many, then there is no other alternative. We have to go for a cross-reference kind of relation. So, separate relation for this association we have to form. But for the other cases, if it is 1:1, many:many, 1:many, or vice versa, in those cases, we can avoid the creation of separate relation for this association. Alternates are there, but in this case, there is no other. Now see, at some initial classes we talked about the situation. Say customer owns. Suppose we want to have date access account. So suppose this is 1:1. Right? Then, okay, date access can be put on this side, that also can be put on that side. Basically, if we go for a foreign key based kind of approach, the way we will be implementing this association, we can go for the foreign key based approach kind of thing also. Maybe that here from the both sides, if it is total participation, one can go for a merge kind of thing also. So date access will come either this side or that side. If we go for a foreign key based approach, depending on which side we are copying the value. If we go for a merge relation, okay, fine. Then everything is together. Done. Suppose a person can have many accounts. Then see, if I want to know, see, if we go for a mapping, what shall I do? Here we will be copying the primary key of customer, say customer ID. If we go for a foreign key based approach, in the many side, copy the primary key of the other type. Because customer can have multiple accounts, I cannot keep so many account numbers here. Then we will also keep date access. So this implementation, what does it show? It shows that it is account specific date access. Now we have to make some judgment. If you want account specific date access, say last date access, and also for customer specific, right? Then basically maximum among these we'll have to find out the last date of access by the customer. So for that, so you have to make some subjective judgment also. If I want to get the last day of access for the customer, not for the account, then I should have, it should not be the attribute of, here it will come attribute of this customer. What is the last date of access by the customer irrespective of the account? Or if it is account specific. If it is account specific, then I can put it here. If I put it here, normal implementation, it will take it to the account. Now, if it is many to many, then see what we are maintaining. For these owns, we have a separate schema, customer ID, account number, then last date access. This is the value. Then this last date access, what does it basically mean? Last date access for this particular account by this customer. For the account also now multiple order is there. Now again, if we want to get the last date of access only for the account, then for the same account number I will have to find the maximum value from here. Or in that case, I can keep a separate field for the account. Similarly, if I want to know last date of access by a customer, irrespective of the account, then I will keep a separate attribute here. If I put it here, I will be getting a relation like this. Okay, from these, through some processing, I can get the information. Say, account number 1 by customer 1 by customer 2, some date, D1, D2. Again, they also have say customer 1, customer 2, account number A2, account number A2, some date D11, D1. So I will be maintaining records here like this. Now, if we want to find out what is the last date of access for this account A1, then I'll have to search for the accounts of A1, then find out what is the higher value. That will give me the last date of access for that particular account. Similarly, last date of access by a customer. So I have to look for that entry for the corresponding customers, then find out the max of those two days. I can do these things. Fine. But if I know in advance that I want to know last date of access by the customer, by the account, if I want to, and those are very frequently required, then last date of access by the customer is the attribute of the customer. I will not put it here. Similarly, if it is the last date of access for an account, it will be the attribute of this one, not of the relation. When shall we put as a part of the relation? I want to get some information on which both the ends must be known. Given the customer, given the account, then I can say last date of access by the customer for that particular account. So basically, this is customer and account, this combination specific. So this interpretation will have to be careful what actually I need. Otherwise, okay, if I put it here, I will be doing a design. From there, I can get the information, but some processing may be required. See, we can have. Okay, before that, let us handle this one. Say aggregation. Suppose student walks in say one or many projects, say many to many. And given the two ends, if I know a particular student, say S, particular project P, then we can find out resources the student is using. So I need to know one end of this relation, another end of the relation, given a student, given a project, then I can say what are the uses, resources used by the student, as if I need this kind of situation. Because these will give me, if I implement this one, I will be getting a relation with having the primary of this one, this one. So this gives a student project combination. So as if given the student project combination, then I can say what are the resources the student is using. Then what does it show? As if relationship with relation. And what we studied in ER diagram, a relationship is the association among the entity types. So this is not allowed in ER diagram. Relationship with relation is not allowed because a relationship, this is association among entity types. So for this situation, then how shall we represent? One way for this is aggregation. As if considering this student working project, combining this, aggregation means combination, summing up. So by aggregation, we will consider an aggregation entity type. this is an entity type obtained by summing up or combining entity types and their relation and their association. Now we can show this as if this is the relationship between. So this process is known as aggregation. Aggregate means summing up. So relationship between aggregated entity type and resources. Or C, the other alternative is that the uses can be thought of as a relationship of higher degree, ternary. Or we can go for aggregation is one way, or we can go for ternary relation. Now see, if we think about aggregation, how shall we go for mapping? So for every entity type, a relation, so we have, forget about the ternary, we will know later. Say we'll have, say, student, a relation, project, another relation, project ID like this. Works in, if it is many to many, then for works in, we will consider a separate relation, many to many, copying the primary of the two, so role, project ID. These will be the combined primary key, composite primary key. It doesn't have any other attribute, so forget it. If it is there, then we will have to put it there. Now see. Again, these also may be many to many. In a project, multiple resources may be used, same resource may be used in multiple projects. So here also we can put this is also many to many kind of thing. For resources, maybe that there is a resource ID, that is the primary and other information. Fine. What about these uses? If we consider this is a relationship between these composite type or aggregated type, entity type, then basically this thing, how can we, in this composite type, how can we represent, identify a particular thing? Roll number and project ID together. So if I want to go for implementing these uses, then basically it will have the primary union of the primary key of both. What is the primary key of this thing? Role and project ID combined. This is the primary key of aggregated type. So this combination will be referring to this. If I do not work in a particular project, if a roll number is not associated with a particular project, there is no issue of doing for these uses. So this combination must be present here. Individually, you cannot, it may refer to this one, it may refer to this one, fine. But jointly they must refer here. I may be a student working in a different project. In that project, some other student is there. So individually I can find, say, role 1 works in project 1, role 2 works in project 2. So individually, if I look for only, say, currently for the individual attributes, then suppose I am dealing with role number 1, P2. if I make only that this refers to this refers to this, right? Now what will happen? This roll number 1 is valid. It will see here, okay, project 2 is also there valid. But see, actually project 1 will to this combination. This roll number 1 doesn't want into project 2. But that is not ensure. But if I say together they will be referring to this what same? As if in your mind you consider as if this is the entity type with which it is related. This is the entity type as if with which it is related. So take the primarity of this one. This primarity is role project type. I have taken. It will be referring to this. So the first one, this one. It shows that 1 P2 doesn't arise. What sim shows 1 P1, 2 P2. So this one will not be allowed. So jointly they will be referring to this. And then the resource item. So obviously this will be referring to this. Right? So if I go for aggregation, this will be the way. Or we can go for a ternary relation. What was the problem in the earlier case? That uses, if I want to go for this uses, basically, if I don't know the student project combination, then I cannot say the uses. Actually, uses the way we have done through aggregation. Uses that has C, student, roll number, project ID, and resource ID. So it combines the three things. So basically, it is a relation that associates not only two entity types, student, project, and resources. Say all many to me. That is the constant. All many to me. Now, somebody may think that, okay, if I have, say, student, some relationship with the project, some relationship with the resources, project, some relationship with the resources, and all many. So that means we are specifying three binary relations, and here a ternary relation. So this is of degree 3. Degree of a relationship type in ER diagram means number of entity types taking part in the relation. Right? So one may think of this ternary relation, but whether do they give us the same information? Not equivalent. They have different meaning. They have different meanings. See, from here, this relationship relates the three as if this particular student, this particular project uses this resource. It relates the three entity: instance of a student, instance of the project, instance of the resource. Right? Here, see, the meaning is different. It shows only which student using which resources. This one will show which student is associated with which project. It will show which project is using which resource. That's all. But from here, using this, can we find out that these students in this project is using this resource? That we cannot say. The student works in project 1, project 2. Basically, this one will give roll number, say 1, you working in project 1, roll number 1, working in project 2. Roll number, this one will give roll number 1 uses resource 1, roll number 1 uses resource 2, roll number 1 uses resource 3, like this. This one may say project 1 uses resource 1, project 1 uses resource 2, project 1 uses resource 3, project 2 uses resource 1, project 2 uses resource 2, project 2 uses resource 3, like this. Now, given a particular student, I can find out what are the in which projects he or she is working. In those projects, other students also may work. Then, in those projects, what are the resources being used? Does it mean that particular student is using those resources? Because in that project, there may be other students also. One student is using a particular resource, another student is using a particular resource. So I cannot say. So see, if all are individual many-to-many kind of thing, then these two things are not equivalent. Again, a ternary relation, it shows a different kind of thing. Suppose a student is working in a particular project but not using any resource. How can I keep those informations? Because here if we have SP and resource, this student, this project, this subject. So I won't get any entry. Student is working in the project but not using any resource. We'll see that it will become the part of the primary key. So now I cannot allow. So I cannot keep those informations. Similarly, I know that student is working with certain resource. I mean, if any of the values is not known, then I cannot have any instance in these uses. So I am losing the information. So then, but if I need to know in which projects the student is working, then I should maintain a separate binary relation also. But don't think that if all are many-to-many, just using the binary relations, I can get the equivalent ternary relation. That information may not be available. But see, if any of these three, if any one binary relation is 1:1, then it is possible. Say, in a project, or say, if we consider a student will work in only one project, and in a project there will be only one student. Now see, if I know what are the resources the project is using, then I can find out who is the student. What are the resources the student is using? If at least one of the relation is 1:1, then we can avoid the ternary relation. In ternary relation, what we are connecting? Student project resource. Here, if I know that this student is working in this project, no other student is there, and this student is not working in any other project. So whatever resources the project is using, that is being used by the student. So the ternary information that we have got, that can be obtained using this set of binary relation. So if any of these binary relation is 1:1, then ternary relation can be avoided. we can work with the set of binary relation. Important thing is that the information the binary relation gives and the information the ternary relation gives, they are not equivalent. So even if at some point of time I need to go for a ternary relation, even if, then if I need to know the outcome of this binary traversal, binary relationship, along with ternary, we'll have to keep the binary. Suppose I want to know in which project the students are working, then I should keep, and that's a frequent requirement. Then I should keep, along with this one, I will keep a binary relation. Along with this, say if we take a different example. Say faculty, subject, suppose, or program. Say program means BCSE, MCSE, MCA, Bachelor of Mechanical, like that. So those are the programs. Say as if subject taught in. Say I want to relate which faculty is teaching a particular subject in a particular program. Say your math stream, it is taught in so many programs. So if I want to know, basically, actually, we'll have to connect the three. This is the subject, this is the teacher, and this is the program. UGCSE, BCSE, BTEC, BETC, like that. But if I want to know, along with this, what the faculty member really, can teach a particular subject, then I should have can teach this kind of relationship. Right? Similarly, I want to know, because those who can teach, not necessarily he is now teaching. So there will be some additional information. Right? Faculties associated with. Apart from teaching, also one can get associated with the program. Say as mentor, not teaching, just mentoring. So what the faculty is associated. You may not get it from here if there is involvement apart from the role of teaching. What are the subjects offered in the program? So see, as if this is the routine kind of thing, class routine. This faculty is teaching this subject to this department or program. But I want to know in general what the faculty members can teach this particular subject. In which departments, which program the subject may be offered. What the faculty members somehow associated with the program. So see that apart from the ternary relation, if we are interested in some other kind of thing, then we may have some binary relationship also. But what I have said, if all are not many to many kind of thing, if all are not many to many kind of thing, if at least one of them is 1:1, then we may not keep this ternary relation. We can skip this one. If at least one of them is say 1:1. If it is like this. 1:1. Then we can skip this. Right? Now, if we think about the ternary relation, how can we map these? Mapping our ternary relation. Say, we will consider a separate relation for these. Now, say if all are say many to many kind of situation, if all binary relation are many to many, say vendor, possibly this kind of example is given in the book, say supplies, item, say department. So if I want to get an instance of supply, I need to know the vendor, item and department. Say these individually, these binary relationship are say all variable. Say this is all say variable. So here how do we represent that in a supply? In a supply instance, we have multiple. A supplier may appear in number of supplies, but obviously a particular supply instance is with this one. Same thing for others also. Basically, all are having NPI. This kind of situation. In a particular supply instance, how does it look? This is the vendor, this is the item, this is the department. But in another instance also, same vendor may appear. In another instance, same department may appear. So a particular vendor may have total number of supply instances. But a particular supply instance is associated with only one vendor. So anyway, if all individual things are many to many, a separate relation for this ternary relation. What will be the attribute? Attribute will be union of the primary key of entity types, union its own attribute, if any, just like any other relationship. And these will also be the foreign keys. The primary key that we are copying, those will be the foreign keys. And what will be the primary key of? Primary key will be union of the primary key of entity types. Now suppose, if it is so, given a vendor department combination, there is only one, then as for our example, what will be the thing? That supply, it will have vendor ID, department ID, item ID, then say quantity or those are say additional attributes. So it is like this. Then this is the primary. Now we are putting a restriction that given a vendor department combination, only one item is there. So for our department, right. So basically, if I have this combination, a V1, D1, then the item code is fixed. Whenever this V1, D1 combination occurs, this item code is fixed. It cannot be anything else. Then this can be skipped because obviously two entries with these things will not appear. Then the primary key also is skipped. So say there are three entity types involved. So what we have done, primary key of all these things that we have taken, here also we will take. If it is so, for a combination of E1, E2, E1, EI belonging to capital EI, for a combination of this E1, E2, only one value of E3 is possible. Only one instance of E3 is possible. Then from the primary key of relation, that is the one that we have considered, this primary key, we have said primary key of all the entity types. Then from the primary key of relation, drop pk of E3. So basically, primary key of E1 and E2 will form the primary key of relation. So that is the role that constants may dictate. Okay. So now, if see in some database management systems, relationship of IRDP is not allowed. Theoretically, if it is so, then ternary relation, can I convert these into set of binary? So far we have seen that that was possible in a very special kind of situation. Here we can do, then say all were many to many. In that case, we cannot do at least one of them should be 1:1. But if we consider given that we have these vendor, supply, department, and a supply occurs when all the three things are connected. So all are variable. Then how we can do? convert the ternary relationship into weak entity type. Supply. Try to remember that in this ternary relationship, whenever this was converted into a relation, we had the primary key of all the things, all the three entity types, and if the supply shows additional attributes like quantity, etc., so we have put those things. And this was the composite primary, taking all the three. So supply, we are converting this one as weak entity type. So weak entity type will totally participate in the relation. With whom? It depends on all the three. So it will form a ternary relationship with all the three. Sorry. A binary relationship with all the three. Its existence depends on all the three. So in a supply, so see, if we try to convert this weak entity type into a strong entity type, what shall we do? Primary key of all entity type on which it depends. So we have to take the union of primary key of all entity types on which it depends. Union additional attributes. We can put quantity like this. Then see, it will have the primary key of vendor ID. It will have the primary key of the department report. It will have the primary key of this item icon. Then its own attributes. See, we come to the same thing. What was basically what is my goal? The supply will relate this vendor has made supply to this department, and this is the corresponding. So if it is so that we have to go for a set of binary relationships, then make the ternary relation as a weak entity type. It will be participating in total relationship with all the three individual entity types. So implementation of this weak entity type will incorporate all the three. Right? Now, whenever we'll be using this here diagram or this kind of things, we have to actually understand the meaning. Say, as you are appearing for the interview, so company interviews candidate. So date time that given the particular company, particular candidate, date time is fixed. Particularly nowadays it is online, so we cannot say report at 11 o'clock. They will interview me at 11 o'clock in the night. That is now not possible. So now date time a slot of 30 minutes or so that is given. So like this. Now, what is the outcome of your interview? You may get some offer. So you may consider, okay, I consider a ternary relation. What is the interpretation? How can I have an interview instance Interview instance means it will have an instance of the company, an instance of candidate, an instance of offer. As if every interview is resulting into an offer. That would have been nice. But it's not so. It means I can have an instance when I have a company instance, candidate instance, and along with that offer instance. But this is not happening all the time. But say company has taken the interview, how should I keep? It doesn't store that information. As if only if it results into offer, then I consider it. Otherwise, it is not. So this is not showing the real scenario. So one situation may be that we may consider a ternary kind of thing, an aggregation. With that, you show say results into offer. Now this is a separate relation. So if there is no offer, I will have this interview. That information will be kept. This is not, it matches with the real life situation. So it's not that all the time, if particularly if we are working with the higher kind of degree of and relationship of higher degree, that always may not match with the situation. So try to go by the interpretation. How shall we do? So right, on one side, always a set of binary relation may not be equivalent to ternary. So we can go for the ternary. Again, all the time ternary may not be the real life situation. So look into the things. So what we can do, we can handle it in a different manner. That and interview instance means always I am getting that too. So if I convert this interview as pre-entity type, say interview, company, candidate. Then an instance of interview, how can how will be implementing this? Weak entity type dependent on both. So primarity of those things and its own attributes. So this one will give company and candidate ID, etc. Now, with this, weak entity type will be showing the relationship. Now this is not total participation from either side. Job offer obviously will be totally participating. Without interview, it cannot offer. But this one, we can have the interview instance, not resulting into the job. So we have to go by the interpretation, whether we are going for conversion and all those things. Right?
But the Carnage and the binary and Carnage, interviews resulted in offer at the interview. At the Carnage or at the binary?
That is real time. If I go by this implementation, see, these will be correlating the three. Right? But you can do also. But if I want to convert this into state of binary relation, in some cases we cannot go for relationship of higher degree. Right? So for that only. Enhanced or extended YAT diagram. So we can enhance the YAT diagram further. Some features those have come up later, so we can consider those things. say superclass, subclass relationship. That was not part of conventional ER diagram. So after enhancement or extension, those have been included. So we know that in our object-oriented classes that there are the process of generalization and specialization. So this is the top-down approach, that we have some classes, then we may identify that there are some special instance, special subgroup of those things. So we may go for forming the specialized classes or the subclasses, that is the specialized. Or if this is the bottom-up approach, as if we have come up with the specialized classes and later we are finding they have lots of things in common, so we are putting a higher level things. So anyway, suppose for our university environment, if I find that okay, by the process of generalization, we have found that faculty and students, they have lots of things in common. So we have formed a person class. Now we want to reflect these things. So they may be reflected like this. That person may be a faculty, may be a student. We'll put something here that we'll see. Faculty is a subset of person. Student is a subset of person. So this is, we'll say, superclass. These are the subclasses. Why shall we go for this superclass, subclass kind of thing? Superclass, subclass, this kind of specialization, why shall we go for? As you know from object-oriented concept, some attributes may be applicable only for a subset of superclass instance. Not for all. And again, in some relationship, only the subclasses may take part. Say, so in this relationship, faculty teaches subject. Say normal, the students will not have this association. It's not that all instance of the person will take part in this association. So we may have certain attributes applicable only for subset of the superclass elements. Here we show the common attributes. We have the additional attributes if applicable. So either of these two situations may arise that may force us to go for this superclass, subclass kind of relationship, right? And in a superclass subclass relation, there is only one subclass. Sorry, there is only one superclass. I mean, now sometimes you may find that it's puzzling in the context of this object-oriented kind of thing. So basically, it has drawn the inspiration from there, but everything in total it will not match with that. Otherwise, I mean, in an offline class, I know that if I write this statement now, you will be asking so many questions. So rather, we will go for those there. Now, say constraints on superclass subclass relationship. So these are a special kind of relationships. As if faculty is a person, student is a person. So we are talking about this thing since your second year classes. There is a relationship between these two. Faculty is a kind of person. That's why we are talking about these inheritance. Right? So constants, first is joint place constant. Is joint place constant. It says that this superclass subclass association is overlapped or disjoint. So here, say this, suppose from a particular class, say class, particular entity type, we have derived the subclass, say B. Say this is our superclass, this is the subclass. If it is a single, these things, I have just extended this thing. So obviously there is no issue of this overlap and disjoint. So that will represent this way. But if it is so, from A, it may be B, it may be C, two things are there. Then we use a connector like this, the circle from there. Individually do not show. It is one, okay, fine. Now, here, if we denote D, it means it is disjoint. Disjoint means, if it is disjoint, that means, if it is disjoint, that stands for that a superclass instance can be a member of at least, at most one subclass. One thing we must note that here no concept of those abstract class or that kind of thing. So a particular element cannot be a member of subclass, it is also a member of the superclass. An instance, which is faculty instance or student instance, it's not that it is also the person instance. So any subclass instance is also superclass instance. Now, when we are saying that this association is disjoint, it means a person instance, a superclass instance, can be the member of at most one of the subclass instance. Disjoint, there is no common between faculty set and the student set. Right? If it is overlapped, so now it is clear, if it is overlapped, that will denote by O. O stands for disjoint, O stands for overlap. If it is overlap, a superclass instance may be member of multiple subclass instance. Evidence show that a person, say in our system, if it is allowed that a person may be faculty and parallelly he is pursuing PhD here, then so in that context it is overlap. The person is both faculty and student. Right? So this is one type of constraint that we can specify for this. Another is completeness constraint. It says that the association is either total or partial. Total means every superclass instance must belong to at least one subclass. So this is the way of denoting total participation. This is somehow like total participation. That every person total participates in this superclass subclass relation. So every instance of these must be some part of faculty and student. If it is partial, a superclass instance may not be member of any of the subclasses. Say in our university, apart from faculty and student, other persons are also there. We have not considered. So if we want to reflect that, then it's partial participation. So these are the concepts. One is the completeness, that when disjoint or overlap, whether a person can become more than one subclass members or at most one. If it is at most one, then these are non-overlap, disjoint. If it can become the member of multiple, then these are overlap. So that is one way D or E. Here we will be writing D or O, disjoint or overlap. Here we will be indicating either this or total participation. Another thing is that a superclass member may be defined as a subclass member or may be detected as a subclass member based on certain condition. Then we'll say this is condition specific or predicate defined specialization. Right. Now this condition or specification, it again may be based on attribute value. This attribute, then we say defining attribute. So obviously, if it is some condition, then it will be based on certain attribute. So what we can do? We can denote those in our ER diagram also. Suppose if we say the student, say some registration number, name, etc., etc., and say post enroll. So depending on these, say a student totally participates, say this join, say either it may be UG, it may be PG, or say it may be PhD. Right? If it is like this. If it is like this, then say if it is based on this course enrolled, then what we can do? We can denote here. So as if this is my defining attribute. This is the defining attribute. And say the value. Say UG. So if the course enrolled is UG, then it belongs to this kind. If it is PG, it belongs to this. If it is PhD, it belongs to this. So it may be predicate defined, the predicate can be specified in terms of some attribute value. So in our extended ER diagram, we can show it this way also. If it cannot be specified by some conditions, it's randomly is categorized, then we'll say that is user-defined specialization. So either we can, it may be predicate-defined specialization, or it may be user-defined specialization. Suppose you are applying for taking the vaccine. Technically, I don't know. So there may be some Covaxin, Covishield, I don't know the terms also. So on what basis you will be chosen for this one or that one, that may be random. I don't know. There will be some logic, but I am not random. So if it is random, then this is user-defined specialization. But if it is based on certain criteria or so, then this is predicate-defined specialization. So let us stop today.